Certainly a big day on the markets. Welcome back to Squawk Australia. We're getting straight out to commodity markets. Joining us is Jonathan Barratt, Managing Director at Commodity Broking Services, alongside our guest host Mike Codling from PwC, and of course Sri is with us from up in Singapore. Jono, we were just talking about the price of gold. I mean, we're what? We're 12.0350. We're about $25-26 away from previous highs.
Yeah.
Can we get there? Can we get back up to 12.26?
Oriel, I think momentum is there to see it continue to trade up to those levels. But within the general broad aspect, we've seen price action for a lot of these commodities start to really outpace the real fundamentals. Gold is going up there purely on the back of fear. But is that fear really there? I mean, you can see the contagion, hopefully or not hopefully spreading. Hopefully it won't spread. So there's going to be a lot of resource being thrown at that because they don't want that to spill over to, Portugal, Spain. So they're going to stop this regardless of what's going to happen. And really, is that necessary to buy gold at this particular level if in fact they can contain it? And I feel they will contain it. So I feel momentum for gold is for it to continue, but I feel that we're getting close to a top if the contagion can be contained.
Okay, Sri.
Jono, though, having said that, isn't there a scope for a short-term downside move in gold, especially if there are margin calls that are triggered over the next couple of days because of this equities sell-off and panic? Many investors will be forced to sell their gold to meet that margin.
Sheree, I agree with that. That actually occurred sort of 3 or 4 days ago. You'll note we had that very large sell-off in gold, which saw it down to around 1160, 1165. And then all of a sudden we started to see it start to pick up. Now, I believe that was a margin call situation that occurred at that point. With the fall that we've had over the last 24 hours, that's fear. That's fear, that's people moving away, moving into an asset class such as gold, purely for protection. And I think that the margins are being met, the price action momentum is there, but as I said to Oriel, I think you've really got to see that news keep going, that a contagion is spreading for gold to keep going.
John, and again in the short term, we've got payrolls later on tonight in the US. If there is a solid number there with strong growth in the jobs market, is that going to stabilise sentiment, not just in commodities markets, but in the broader equity sphere?
Oh, Sheree, look, I tell you what, one of the interesting things are we've seen these massive drops in equities and revaluations. But when you really look at some of the numbers which are coming out, particularly out of the US, this is all good recovery stuff. Discount what's happening in Europe, and you've got a recovery underway. And I think, to me, that's one of the keys. You could see quite a turnaround tonight if, as we're expecting, some very positive unemployment data in the States. Now, that unemployment data in the States, a good number, is probably one of the keys to economic recovery and also to help put a floor in some of the commodity prices which have been falling.
John, I wanted to ask you specifically about oil. Now, of course, we saw this massive 5% drop, really, this blisk of risk retreat selling, essentially, as we're seeing on the market. We've also got this oil spill, though, to deal with, which certainly hasn't gone away. It's probably just dropped a little in significance, given what we've seen on the global markets today. Just how much is this likely to impact the supply picture going forward? I mean, how much of an impact is this going to continue to have on the price of oil?
Okay, two things. The big sell-off in crude is a result of people not 100% confident in terms of supply. There's more supply on the market and inventories are there. Remember, crude was at 87. We're now at a low of 74.40. So believe it or not, that's coming back to good value. Okay. Now, concerning the spill, what it will highlight, I feel, to a lot of politicians is we're not going to do any more deep water drilling. Okay? We're not going to go down that phase anymore. We're going to slow things down in that. And that in itself could also help to put a floor under the price of oil. So this is a highlight, it's a litmus test to what we will do in the future in terms of getting supply from the deep wells.
Okay. All right, Jono, good to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Sure is going to be a busy day, I'm sure for you today. All right, Jonathan Barratt with us there from Commodity Broking Services.